Morning student. Today we have discussed subject of science class 6 from chapter 5 separation of substance. जैसा कि हम जानते हैं our surroundings main type of substance used in our daily routines. But different type of substance are mixed in it. In this chapter, we have explained separation of solution, separation of substance. In this method, hand picking, winnowing, sieving, sedimentation, decantation, and filtration are some of the method of separating substance from their mixtures. Method of separation: separation of solid from other solid, thrashing, process by which the grains are released of winnowing, the process of separation of heavier and lighter component of a mixture by wind or blowing air. Hand picking method, the process by which undesirable component are just picked up by hand. Sieving, the process by which separation solid constituent of a mixture which differ in their size. Magnetic separation, process by which magnet is moved over such a mixture, the magnetic material is stick to it and is removed. सेकेंड मेथड की बात करते हैं, सेपरेशन ऑफ वाटर सॉल्यूशन, separation of water soluble solid. Evaporation, process by which the conversion of liquid state into gaseous state on heating. Condensation, the process by which conversion of gaseous state into liquid state on cooling. थर्ड थिंग्स की बात करेंगे, सेपरेशन ऑफ insoluble solid from liquid. Sedimentation, it allows heavier matter to settle down, as example sand and water. Decantation, the method of separating insoluble solid from liquid. Loading, the method by which finer particles are made up of settle faster by dissolving a small quantity of elements. Filtration, the liquid that collects in a beaker is called filtrate. फिल्ट्रेशन सेपरेशन ऑफ इमिसिबल लिक्विड, हम इमिसिबल लिक्विड की बात करते हैं। द मेथड ऑफ सेपरेटिंग मिक्सचर ऑफ ऑयल एंड वाटर, सेंट्रीफ्यूगेशन, सेंट्रीफ्यूगेशन मेथड की बात करते हैं। The method in which mixture containing suspended particle is rotates at a high speed in a centrifuge. The heavier particle settle down. It is used for separating cream from milk. By churning method, the method which is used for separating lighter particle of solid suspended in a liquid, example butter from curd. Now husk and stone would be separated from grains by hand picking method. Husk is separated from heavier seed of grain by winnowing method. Saturated solution is one in which no more of substance can be dissolved. More of substance can be dissolved in solution by heating it. Water dissolve different amount of soluble substance in it. In this chapter, we have explained in this type of method one by one and explain it. In your daily life, there are many instances when you notice substance being separated from mixture of material, such as examples separating tea leaves with a strainer, perhaps you might have eaten settle, dalia, and poha. If you found that if had chilies in it, you may have carefully taken them out before eating. Suppose you are given a basket containing mangoes and guava and asked to separate them. What would you do? Pick out one kind of place them in a separated container, right? Seems easily. But what if the materials we want to separate it are much smaller than mangoes or guava? Imagine you are given a glass of sand with salt mix in it. Impossible even to think of separating salt from mixture by picking out of grams or sand by hand. But why would you need to separate a substance like this at all? Each what पहले want to know. तो स्टूडेंट हैं यहाँ पर पहेली के द्वारा इस एक्टिविटी को आपको समझाने में लिया जा रहा है। आपकी बुक की एक्टिविटी एक्टिविटी नंबर 1 की बात करेंगे। एक्टिविटी फर्स्ट, इन कॉलम फर्स्ट ऑफ टेबल 5.1, जैसा कि टेबल 5.1 यहाँ पर प्रिपेयर किया जा रहा है, इसके द्वारा आप अपनी नॉलेज को शेयर कर सकते हैं, बता सकते हैं। द पर्पज ऑफ सेपरेशन एंड द वे सेपरेटेड component are used is maintained in column second and third. However, the information given in column second and third is jumped up. Can you match it? Can you match each process of with its purpose and the way separated components are used? Why do you separate substance? Separate stone from rice, churning milk to obtain butter, separating tea leaves, इन सभी सब्सटेंस को सेपरेट करना है। पर्पज फॉर वी डू टू सेपरेशन, आपके सेपरेशन का पर्पज क्या है? व्हाट डू यू डू द सेपरेटेड कंपोनेंट, आप इसमें से क्या सेपरेट करेंगे? यह सभी पॉइंट आपको थिंकिंग करके आगे एक्टिविटी को कंप्लीट करनी। We see that before we use a substance, we need to separate harmful or non-harmful substance. That may mix with sometime. We separate even useful components if we need to use them separately. The substance to be separated may be particle of different size material. These may be in any three state of matter: solid, liquid, and gas. So how do we separate the substance mixed together if they have so many different properties? Method of separation. We will discuss some simple method of separating substance that are mixed together. You may come across some of these methods being used in day-to-day activity. यहाँ पर हम आपको ऐसी एक्टिविटी की बात करेंगे जो हम day-to-day लाइफ में यूज करते हैं by hand picking method. This method of hand picking can be used for separating slightly larger sized impurities like the piece of drift, stone, and husk from wheat, rice, and pulses. The quantity of such impurities is usually not very large. In such situation, we find that hand picking is a convenient method of separating substance. नेक्स्ट मेथड की बात करेंगे, थ्रेसिंग। थ्रेसिंग के केस की बात करते हैं। यहाँ पर हम देखते हैं द प्रोसेस that is used to separate grain from stock is threshing. In this process, the stalk are beaten to free the grain seed. Sometimes threshing is done with the help of bullocks. Machines are also used to thresh large quantity of grain. Nowadays, in this activity, we have many types of combined machine. नेक्स्ट मेथड की बात करते हैं विनोविंग. This process of separation, this method of separating component of a mixture is called threshing. Winnowing is used to separating heavier and lighter component of mixture by wind or by blowing air. This method is commonly used by farmer to separate lighter husk particle from heavier seed of grain. Husk particle are carried away by wind. The seed of grain is separated from the heap near the platform for winnowing. The separated husk is used for many purposes such as fodder for cattle. तो husk particle होते हैं वो cattle की fodder के रूप में यूज किया जाता है. Now we have explained next method, sieving. We may wish to prepare a dish with flour. We need to remove impurities in bran that may be present in it. What do? We use a sieve and pour for flour into it. Sieving allowed the fine flour particles to pass through the holes of sieves, while the bigger impurities remain on the sieves. In a flour mills, impurities like husk and stone are removed from wheat before grinding it. Usually a buckful of wheat is poured on slanting sieves. The sieving removes piece of stone, stalk, and husk that may still remain with wheat after threshing and winnowing. You may have also noticed similar sieving being used to construction sites. Two separated pebbles and stone from sand. By activity we have understand this method bring a sieve and a small quantity of flour from homes to class, sieve the flour to separated any impurities in it. Now make a fine powders of chalk piece and mix with the flour. Then we separated the flour and powdered chalk by sieving. Sieving is used when components of a mixture have different results. ताकि आपको यह जानकारी होगी कि शेविंग मेथड को डिफरेंट साइज ऑफ कंपोनेंट को शेव करने के लिए, फिल्टर करने के लिए, सेपरेट करने के लिए यूज करते हैं। Now we have explained next method, sedimentation, decantation, and filtration. Sometimes it may not be possible to separate component of a mixture by winnowing and hand picking. There are many lighter impurities like dust or soil particle in rice or pulses. However, such as impurities separated from rice or pulses before cooking. Rice or pulses are usually washed before cooking. When you add water to these impurities like dust particle get separated, these impurities go into water. Now what will sink to the bottom of the vessels, rice or dust. Why? Have you seen that the vessels is tilled to pour out of dirty water? When the heavier component of a mixture settle after water is added to it, the process is called sedimentation. When the water is removed, the process is called decantation. Let us find a few other mixtures that can be separated through sedimentation and decantation. The simple principle is used for separating mixture or two liquids that do not mix with each other, oil, water, from their mixture can be separated by this process if a mixture of such liquid is allowed to stand for some time. They form two separated layers. The component that forms top layer can then be separated by decantation. Let us again consider a mixture of tea, solid, and liquid. After preparing tea, what do you do to remove the tea leaves? We use similar strainer to remove tea leaves by decantation. It helps a little, but do you still get a few leaves in your tea? Now, pour the tea through a strainer. This process is called filtration. Which method of separating tea leaves from prepared tea is better, decantation or filtration? Filtration or decantation. Let us now consider The example of water that we use. Do all of us at all time get safe water to drink? Sometimes water supply through tap may be muddy. The water collected from pond or river may also be muddy, especially after rain. Let us see if we can use some method of separation to remove insoluble impurities like soil from the water.